The 20th century Bengali poet, philosopher, painter, writer, polymath, Rabindranath Tagore is quoted as having said, "Every child comes with the message that God is not yet discouraged of man." Another way to think of that is that every baby is proof that God has not yet given up on us. Last week, Reverend Hannah talked about how we raise our children, both our own children and those in our communities that we are collectively raising, and how that is a message to the future. That we are sending a message through our children of how we wanted to be. Today, we're exploring the messages that we send to the future through our creativity. Creativity is us saying we have not yet given up on ourselves or on the future. One of my favorite books is a dystopian future novel titled Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. Has anybody read Station 11? Few of you. The book takes place after a flu-like epidemic sweeps the world and kills, in a very short span of time, almost everyone. Of course, societies collapse. There's no medicine, there's no electricity, no one to fly the airplanes. The author engages the use of flashbacks to expand the lives of the characters and their stories and to explore the meaning of life, humanity, relationships, and art. The story mostly takes place in the world that exists long after that pandemic and what people have done to continue living. One group of people call themselves the Traveling Symphony. They are a roaming theater troupe that brings plays, mostly Shakespeare plays, to the various encampments of people dotting the North American continent. On the sides of their caravans, a phrase is painted, "Because survival is insufficient." Because survival is insufficient. When we think about the world, the climate crisis, the political landscape, the economy, the very real threats facing our society, and particularly the real threats facing those among us who are already marginalized and at risk, it's easy to think, hunker down, do what is absolutely necessary, and nothing else. But to do that is to lose our humanity. I think about our cave-dwelling ancestors, the ones from way, way back. They did more than just hunt and gather. They made art. They put their handprints on the wall of their cave. They created jewelry out of bone. They told stories. They painted the pottery. Evolutionarily speaking, this was not actually advantageous for them to do. It takes a lot of time to make a pot. It takes even more time to make a stone arrowhead when all you have is another stone. I know, because I had to do it in an anthropology class in college, and it was really, really hard. It takes a lot of time. But they also made them beautiful. They wasted berries they could have eaten to decorate their pottery. Why? Because they were human. And it is the human impulse to seek beauty, to create something unique, to say, I was here through my handprint or my jewelry or whatever I can create. In 1992, when the city of Sarajevo, the capital of Bosnia and Herzegovina, was under constant siege during the early parts of the Bosnian War, one man decided he needed to do something. He was not a medic or a politician. He couldn't feed people or repair buildings. He was a musician. He had played cello in the Sarajevo Philharmonic Orchestra. So he began to play. Can you show us that slide? Every day he would play around the city, either for funerals or in bombed out buildings or on the streets. He began to play Albinoni's Adagio in G minor at a place where 22 innocent people had lost their lives in an attack while lined up for bread. And he played that every day for 22 days. The haunting and beautiful performance caught the attention of the world, bringing attention to the war atrocities and also to the power of the human spirit. And eventually, Vedran Smilovic, the cellist of Sarajevo, was able to escape the war to Ireland, but his bravery and creativity inspired other works of art, including songs and books. When we think of creativity, we might automatically think of things like this: painting, sculpture, theater, music, sweeping artistic statements like Michelangelo painting the face of a Vatican official as Minos in hell on the Great Wall of the Sistine Chapel. He's like, gotcha. When that Vatican official was like, hey, wait, that's me. The Pope said, I don't have any authority over hell. Sorry, your face is going to be on there forever. We think about Picasso's depiction of the Spanish Civil War in his famous work, Guernica. This is huge. It's like the size of a whole giant wall. Or we think of Michael Jackson and Lionel Richie bringing together 44 of the biggest pop stars in the world to record We Are the World in one night in 1985 to raise funds for famine relief in Africa. Or we think of a cellist defying war and violence with music. But I loved Amanda's example of marinara sauce. I like to bake. I make cakes and sweets, and I'm working on perfecting my chocolate mousse recipe right now. Creativity can be digging in the dirt, planting a garden, even a very meager one. It can be folding paper airplanes with a kid. It can be reorganizing that shelf in your closet. You know the one. The act of making, creating anything is saying that we haven't yet given up on the world. And that come what may, we still believe in beauty or deliciousness, or at least we have to be able to see something sprouting from the ground, or we want to be able to find that book on that shelf someday in the future. It says that we believe that there is a future in which this will benefit us or someone else, and it is a claim on the present moment. It is a claim on ourselves, saying, I am a human. I am a descendant of people who painted their hands on the cave walls, and I will not give in to the chaos, the fear, the dread, the daily grind, everything trying to make me into a machine. I will not let those things take my humanity. Creativity is what it means to be human. And in order to create, we must be able and willing to do three things. The first is to notice an absence. The second is to imagine something in its presence. And the third is to create that thing, or some approximation of it. Amanda says, I notice an absence. There is no pasta in my house. Number two, I imagine making a delicious spaghetti and marinara sauce. And number three, I will create it using these tomatoes that my husband tended and with as much garlic as my heart calls for. One of my last remaining creative practices at this phase of my life, in which I am full-time pastoring and parenting to sort of 3 children with an exchange student, it is exhausting, y'all. I don't have much time or space for creative practice. So the one that I have held on to is that I go whole hog on birthday parties for my kids. I make elaborate cakes, and I plan and create decorations, and I design invitations on the computer, and I have a lot of fun with it. And my kids know that they can ask for things like a Kraken versus Hydra birthday party, and that I will make it happen. And I am under no illusions that my children need this. I am aware that they would be just as happy with a store-bought cake and decorations from Party City or none at all. I get that. Friends, this is for me. It's like for them. It's not for them. This is me saying, my kid loves mythical Greek and Norse ocean monsters. There are no pre-made party decorations in that theme. They do not exist. I will make it happen, and it will be fun for me. And so I do, and nothing fills my heart with more joy than when I reveal the cake and see the room filled with ocean monsters and people that they love. Creativity takes many forms, but it is a way to say, I'm a human, I'm not a machine, I deserve beauty and fun and loveliness and yummy things, and so do the people around me. And if we can imagine a marinara sauce or a Kraken birthday cake, we can imagine new possibilities for the world, new ways of being together. Alternative economic systems that don't exploit our Earth or our fellow humans, or new ways of measuring national success instead of incessant growth of GDP. Wouldn't that be amazing? A different way? We can imagine new ways of caring for each other, supporting each other. We can create new things, small first, and then on larger and larger scales. Today, as we have recognized new members among us, I remember that one of the greatest things that I get to do as one of your ministers is that I get to see all of community, all of humanity doing its thing right here. Bless you. I get to see birth and death and teenagers figuring out who they are. I get to see parents supporting one another and elders making meaning of their aging. I watch people laugh and play and sing together. I help with fundraising. I encourage generosity. I hug people as they cry. I watch committees work and people teach each other. And volunteers prepare songs and reflections and make supportive phone calls and write cards to each other and make meals for one another. And people bring food to events, and somehow there's always enough. Don't forget to sign up for Steve's ordination. We need more food. And then when we have more than enough food at that event, when it is over and we clean up together, someone brings all that food over to the family shelter so that it doesn't go to waste. We are doing community here, the way we wish it were done out there. The activist and author Adrienne Maree Brown, in her book Emergent Strategy, talks about fractals, which are those mathematical repeating patterns found in nature, like snowflakes or leaves and trees, even our own cellular structures. Adrienne Maree Brown says, small is all. Small is all. She talks about getting down to the lowest level of activism and relationship, hyper local, and getting it right there first so that it can then fractal out, grow from there. She says, if we can create the world that we want at the small level, then it will go better at the larger and larger levels. Here, if we can create committees that work not only for efficiency, but for right relationship, then it can fractal out to our community, to our city, to maybe our state, and eventually our nation and our world. Not just us, not just the fellowship, not alone, but all of us starting small, creating something possible. But first, we have to notice what is not yet and imagine something new and then create it. One marinara sauce, one cake, one musical creation, one committee, one fellowship, one world at a time. Amen. May it be so.